Welcome to Therapy Facts with Dr. Jenn. Point 8 about how therapy works is that when you understand your details from your perspective and other perspectives, that can lead to the realization that you want to change some behaviors. And that behavior change can be quite painful. So the realization or the new understanding can be painful, and also the behavior change that you might desire because of the new understanding can be painful as well, because you may have to develop a whole new skill set that you've either been struggling with or that has never occurred to you. For example, if you are someone who has to learn who your details suggest would do well learning how to tell people no. Whew, if saying no is not a part of your skill set, is not a part of your repertoire of behaviors, learning to say no, for example, can be very, very painful. And so, any of the behaviors that will take you from knowing better to doing better can be painful, because if you could do those behaviors, if you could say no, if you could speak up for yourself, if you could put yourself first, if you could set boundaries, you would already be doing that. And so there must have been some obstacle that has already stopped you from doing any of these behaviors that would have made your life better already. And so learning to do those behaviors require identifying what the behaviors are, identifying what the skill set that is needed to be learned, and then practicing and receiving support from your therapist for practicing. For example, when I am helping people to learn to say no, I often say to them to in saying no, to tell whomever they are saying no that their therapist said that they cannot do that, or that their therapist said to say no. Because sometimes it is easier for someone who is learning to do a new behavior to blame it on someone else. And I always say, I can take it. So if you have to tell your sister no, you are not going to babysit her child at the last minute for the 10th Saturday in the row, to say to your sister, my therapist told me to tell you no. Now, what is amusing about that, but very effective, is that very often when someone says their therapist told them to say no, the person to whom they are saying no, they step back and their eyes pop open and they're like, oh, really? And they take it seriously. So, where they may just bulldoze over the person, their sister, who they are always imposing on, maybe they would bulldoze over her without even thinking about it. When she says, my therapist told me to tell you no, they're like, oh, wait, you're going to therapy? Your therapist knows about me? And they're able to take the no better. Now, there may be some negative consequences. The sister may not want to speak to you. The sister may be upset. There may be some other things that the sister is doing to you, or for you rather, that makes her think that it's okay to impose on you every week. Whatever the case, but you and your therapist would talk about that. Would talk about all the contingencies and all of the circumstances that support your sister bulldozing over you every week, no matter what your schedule might call for, or no matter what might be on your schedule. So, the therapist will help you work through all of those contingencies, and so that you, as many contingencies as possible, so that you won't be surprised by people's response to you. However, as with anything related to humans, we can't know everything, every possible contingency. And so that's where the pain comes in too. That people may have such a negative response to you setting boundaries or saying no or putting yourself first, that might surprise you and make it very, very painful for you to continue in your practice of doing those things. And so that's how it can be pretty painful going from knowing better to doing better. But what we know for sure is that practicing and enduring the pain of doing better things or doing behaviors that are in our best interest will pay off. Now, again, it may require changing more things than was anticipated, but the practice, the persistence in the practice, and even the explanation of the practice, because saying my therapist told me to tell you no, that is a bit of an explanation that, hey, I have gone to therapy, I am seeking professional help for this particular behavior, and the person that I am working with has sent me to give you a message that says no. That can open up a great conversation that can help the person who is receiving the message to understand how their imposition has hurt you. So there's a lot of things that can come out of engaging or endeavoring to engage in new behaviors that may be painful. It's always worth the risk. And it's better to take the risk with a professional therapist if you can, so that you can have the support going through what can be a very painful process.